Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. In this video today, we're going to briefly discuss leases in Thailand, specifically speculation that certain government authorities may create the ability for foreign nationals to have long-term, very long-term leases here in Thailand, specifically 50-year leases for residential/commercial property here in Thailand. Up to this, and as of the time of this video, it is currently possible, at least in a residential setting, to go ahead and get a lease of property for up to 30 years. Also, it may be possible under certain circumstances to get commercial property leasing for as much as 50 years, depending on specific circumstances surrounding one's business endeavors associated with the lease. In recent articles, which I've noticed just in a few publications in the English language press here in Thailand, there's some speculation from some of the ministries which have authority over land office matters here in the kingdom that they are actually thinking about implementing a new set of guidelines with respect to allowing foreign nationals to go ahead and lease property for up to 50-year duration. Up to now, you can only lease things for about 30 years total. And go ahead and get a lease such as that registered at the land office. Now, to be clear, this is not anything other than a long-term lease. And it's simply an extension of the already existing 30-year ability that currently exists for residential dwellings. So the thing that has to be kept in mind, all of the current protections of Thai nationals owning property and foreign nationals having very limited ability to own property here in Thailand, that is all still in existence. Foreign nationals still basically are restricted to either operating under certain types of leases, possibly usufructs, or some sort of condominium setup pursuant to the provisions of the Thai Condominium Act. If a unit is deemed to fall within the guidelines of the statute, a foreign national can go ahead and purchase said property so long as it meets it comports with the provisions of the Act itself, and moreover also the overall, the overall constitution of the juristic person fits with the provisions of the Act. So what we're talking about here is only 49% of a given condominium unit or a given condominium complex can be owned by foreign nationals. 51% has to be owned by Thai nationals. It looks like they're bringing up this proposal in an effort to sort of provide maybe a little bit easier is not the right word, but more transparent ways for foreigners to enjoy property here in Thailand. In the past, there has been the ability, well, people have tried and with varying degrees of success utilize things like corporate structures to own property and things like this. It can be a bit precarious with respect to the legal posture of such entities. So for that reason, they're not sometimes the most advisable things to get oneself involved in. But that being said, it is probably a pretty good thing that we're going to be looking at a 50-year lease structure if this comes to fruition. And the other thing is as said, again, it doesn't have anything to do with respect to ownership of Thai property. It would appear, at least as of the time of this filming, that's not going to particularly change. But 50-year leases may be a possibility in the fairly near future, and those who are interested in getting those leases taken care of are well advised to contact legal professionals. Another thing to keep in mind is there also seems sort of attached to this, or sort of integral to this proposal, is something of a relaxation of, let's call it, bureaucratic prerogative when it comes to registration of foreign rights in Thai property. Unlike many other countries, Thailand's the officers in, let's go ahead and say, within the Ministry of the Interior, the folks that have the authority to deal with matters pertaining to land, they have a rather wide breadth of discretion with respect to these matters. And if a given officer just feels like something doesn't look right, or it just doesn't really comport with, frankly, what they deem is, within the within the provisions, within the spirit of the law, I guess you could say, those folks oftentimes will either refuse to, register certain types of instruments, or will place quite an onus of documentation, documentary proof, just various sort of, bureaucratic stalling mechanisms that, can result in some frustration for those who wish to essentially enjoy property rights here in Thailand. It looks like if this were to pass and if this came into fruition, it might lead to a sort of a relaxing of the mentality of the officers involved with such matters, as there would be sort of a clear legislative mandate to go ahead and allow foreign nationals to have longer-term rights with respect to Thai property. That being said, all of this at this time is mere speculation, so it remains to be seen on how this will actually be implemented, but it will be interesting to watch.